All right, so we've got momentum. We have some coaching in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We're moving forwards. How do we keep moving forwards? How do we continue to have hope?
Yeah. Yes.
How do we maintain that momentum?
Yeah. One of the things that I really love when we talk about habits, because it's about habits, it's the discipline and the consistency that we know maintains that forward momentum. What I really love when people say to me is like, oh, Robin, I'm super lazy. Like I have a really hard time doing the boring stuff or doing that, and I get distracted, or maybe some protest behavior. I really think for the most part, people aren't lazy. They just don't see the point. Right? They just don't see the point,
right,
and they're not getting enough return on the investment.
Yeah.
Because once you start doing the thing and you start to get the payoff, it's like you can't make me not do this thing anymore.
Totally.
So even like, again, going for a morning walk, right? I got to the point now where sleet, rain, awful weather conditions, none of that actually really even factors into it, because I know what I get from that consistent practice of a non-negotiable 30-minute walk every morning, right? So you're not lazy, you just don't see the point. And we're very efficient beings, right? We're very efficient beings. And if I am looking for some dopamine and I can get it from just playing around on my little dopamine device on my phone, right? That's just a really easy way to get it. However, again, it's not that we're lazy, it's just we don't see the point in some of the things that we're doing. But when we get clarity and it's a reasoned approach, it actually helps us be able to maintain consistency and direction to where we're going.
Does that change your identity?
Absolutely. And there's an amazing kind of chapter in Atomic Habits that talks about the research around how, for example, they did a smoking cessation program where they were trying to get people to quit smoking. And one particular group was told and identified and referred to as a group of people who are trying to quit smoking. And the other group was referred to as a group of non-smokers. That one variable, are you a smoker trying to quit, or are you a non-smoker, statistically had better outcomes of smoking cessation or reducing smoking or like leaving the smoking behavior simply by identifying I'm a non-smoker versus
so cool.
I am a person who is trying to lose weight. I am a person who is trying to sleep better. I am a person who is whatever the thing is. I'm a person. How many times have you heard somebody say, I'm a terrible sleeper?
All the time.
Yeah. Or it's like, why are you saying that? Because this is what's so interesting. Our beliefs, whatever those beliefs are, they're just practiced thoughts.
Yes.
So I've practiced the thought that I'm a bad sleeper. So I'm going to lie down, and what's my body and my brain going to come to the conclusion of?
Yeah.
I'm a bad sleeper, reinforcing it. Versus I'm somebody under the right conditions can get a restful sleep.
Right.
I'm somebody under the right conditions can feel really good in the morning, even sometimes when I get a little bit less sleep than I was hoping I got the night before.
So how we talk about ourselves is one of the ways to maintain momentum.
Correct.
Speaking about yourself in the way that you want to be, your identity, not the past.
Yes. And as somebody who's navigated addiction, I can share with you one of the big unlocks for me was being able to ask myself, what would somebody without an addiction do in this moment?
What would someone without an addiction do in this moment? So fascinating.
What is somebody who doesn't navigate X, whatever that is for you, what would they likely do in this moment?
Right.
So again, the fear response, there's going to be triggers, and we sometimes have a grief attack or a trigger attack of trauma. And when you have a history of addictions, there is a very, very, very strong impulse to do the thing that we used to do because that just helped, right? Yeah. That was our go-to, and we did it enough. It becomes this beautiful myelin sheath, as you know, like that little neuron knows exactly where it wants to go. But even like not even using the form of addictions, let's use the example of, in relationships, we've had a disagreement, a partner and I've had a disagreement, your go-to might be to shut down. Right. Your go-to might be to stonewall. So if you are, if you're in that moment, and let's say you're having a disagreement with your partner, and your go-to play is to be a jerk, is to shut down, is to detach, to say something mean, let's say. In that moment, coaching ourselves to say, what would a loving person say in this moment?
Yeah,
what would love do? Or, how would Dr. James hold us in this moment, right? Go to an example that you can visualize, that you can feel, and use that as this compass. And I remember for years and years, and even to the point where 2 decades after me recovering from one of my addictions, I remember when I met that impulse to do harm to self, I remember actually saying to myself, I feel this. I feel this so viscerally. This used to be the only tool that I had. This isn't, I have so many more tools. I have so many more tools now. I don't have to do that. I understand, brain, why you're giving this impulse to me. I understand why you're pulling me in that direction. I have so many other tools. Let me show you at this age, this time and place and space in the world, all the other things that I can reach for instead of reaching for that.
So like loving self-compassion in practice in a little moment.
In a moment. And our life is simply made up by moments. And if we get those moments right, we're going to be in a really good place of making good choices.